Welcome to episode 16. Is it 16 or 17?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, it's one of those episodes of Small Screen Cinema with Tabitha and Dad, now that everybody has that straightened out. And I hope everybody is having a less stressful Christmas season than me so far. Um, but we are jumping into the Christmas season with a Christmas movie, one of those feel-good movies. Tabitha, tell everybody what we're going to watch.
We are watching 1972's Home for the Holidays, not to
Oh,
be confused with the 1995 Holly Hunter movie.
oh,
Totally
whoops, I watched
different.
the wrong movie then.
You're going to be so lost. This is an ABC movie. We've got some familiar names here. It was directed by John Llewellyn Moxey, who previously directed Foster and Laurie that we covered early on. And as far as I'm concerned, he is kind of TV movie royalty. He's got a bunch of bangers to his name. For example, The Night Stalker. I am positive he will come up again. He passed away in 2019.
Oh,
The
and
mo-
then he's not going to come up again.
we will remember him.
I mean, unless he's Jesus.
This movie was written by Joseph Stefano. If that name sounds familiar, it is because he is the screenwriter of Psycho, one of the greatest movies of all time. You
Really?
would, yes, really.
Oh, I'm cool.
I'm not lying.
Okay.
You'd think that that would set him up pretty nicely to be a successful Hollywood screenwriter, but not really. He's got a couple other features to his name, like Black Orchid and The Naked Edge, but it is mostly television work from here on out.
Hmm.
And aside from TV movies, he wrote for shows like Marcus Welby, Star Trek The Next Generation, and The Outer Limits. Stefano passed away in 2006 at the age of 84. I was wrong last week. I said Joan Hackett was in this movie. She's actually in a similar movie called Five Desperate Women, and I was mixing those up. This movie does star Sally Field as Christine. I probably don't need to tell you who that is. She is, of course, Sassy from Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey. And I guess she won some Oscars and Emmys or something or other. I don't know.
Uh,
And she is still with us today. Next, we have Julie Harris as Elizabeth.
okay, let me stop you right there. Last week I said that when I was little, I thought she was beautiful. I meant Julie Adams.
I was a little
Sorry.
confused by that statement. Yeah. I was like, I guess in a certain way.
Well, I was looking at her thinking, no, that's not how I remembered her. So I looked up Tickle Me from Elvis. Oh, Julie Adams. Adams Harris are both English names, so.
Sure. Yeah. Her heyday was in the 50s and 60s, where she co-starred in East of Eden with James Dean, The Haunting, and Harper. She had a pretty big role on Knots Landing in the 1980s, and she kept working up until 2009. She passed away in 2013 at the age of 87. Next, we have Jill Hayworth as Joanna. She was in some pretty big movies like Exodus and Harm's Way, but she mostly worked on television. She was the one I wasn't familiar with out of the cast. She guest starred on shows like 12 O'Clock High, Rawhide, Mission Impossible, and Vegas. And she's got some pretty big gaps in her filmography, but she did have a cool stage career. She was the original Sally Bowles in Cabaret on Broadway. And fun fact, Judi Dench was the second.
Wow.
Yep. She also appeared on Broadway in the show Butterflies Are Free. The last thing she did on screen was in 2001, and she passed away in 2011 at only 65. And next up, we have Eleanor Parker as Alex. Parker was a pretty big star in the 50s and 60s, too. She was in Detective Story, A Hole in the Head, The Man with the Golden Arm, and Home from the Hill. And my favorite part, she played the Baroness in The Sound of Music. And it was an embarrassingly long time before I realized that was her.
Ah.
Parker passed away in 2013 at 91. Next up is Jessica Walter as Frederica, and we love and respect Jessica Walter in this family. She played the iconic Lucille Bluth on Arrested Development. She played roughly that same character on Archer. But before I feel like she'd been working for decades, but I feel like that's when she really kind of made it, was with those shows.
Yeah, she was in a huge hit playing Misty for me in
Yes.
the late 60s, early 70s. And she just didn't seem to capitalize on that. And then she kind of disappeared until she reemerged uh, in the 2000s. You know,
Yeah, yeah, she did play the villain in Play Misty for me. But you haven't if you haven't seen, the ending is the funniest thing. So at least watch the ending. It's great. Another fairly big movie, she was in Grand Prix with James Garner. She was in an episode of Alias Smith and Jones, two episodes of The Streets of San Francisco, and finally, she had a recurring role on Trapper John. She was Trap's ex-wife, Melanie. So she would pop in a couple of times a season on that show. She passed away just a few years ago in 2021 at age 80. And finally, we have Walter Brennan as Benjamin. Not only does this man have the most irritating voice of all time, which, in fairness, is not his fault, but I'm going to drag him for it anyway because he was a piece of shit. Heavily conservative, heavily racist, good buddies with John Wayne, reportedly celebrated the assassinations of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Robert F. Kennedy. I mean, the good one, not the worm. And this man won three Oscars. Three. Why? Because he started his career as an extra, and the extras union used to be allowed to vote in the Academy Awards. So they kept voting for their old buddy, and they kept forking over the golden statue to their best friend, the racist asshole. This genuinely led to the extras union no longer being allowed to vote.
no.
And who cares what else he was in? Because fuck him. I did have to suffer him for three whole episodes of Alias Smith and Jones, so please send me your sympathy cards. He died in 1974 at age 80, which is about 80 years more than he deserved.
To be fair, in this movie, he's really was it got maybe 5 lines.
No, he's really not in the movie much, and his voice is actually less squeaky than usual. So, at least there's that. Anyway, Home for the Holidays aired November 28th, 1972. It ran against Hawaii Five-O on CBS, and on NBC it was up against Bonanza and The Bold Ones, The New Doctors. This movie was released on VHS and DVD, but it is hard to track down on physical media. You're probably looking at buying a very expensive old DVD from eBay if you want it that bad. So, like most of these telefilms, YouTube is your best bet. With all that out of the way, with all that out of the way, let's dig in. So we start out with a reminder that this is a Spelling Goldberg production. Thanks for that. Those are the people that homogenize Starsky and Hutch. We see Eleanor Parker's character Alex fiddling with some Christmas decoration, and then she goes to check on her father, while Julie Harris's Elizabeth watches ominously. That is what Julie Harris will spend most of her time doing in this movie.
Yeah,
Dun dun dun. So Alex tells Daddy Benjamin that she's going to pick up her sisters from the airport. And he asks, "Where is she?" in a scared voice. She says she's in her room, I expect. You can infer that they're talking about stepmother Elizabeth here. So Alex leaves the house, and on her way, she is stopped by a man named Dr. Ted Lindsay. The two know each other, but it's been a long time. Alex and her sisters have not lived there for years.
okay. That
She's
actor, what else has he been in?
I
He
did not
looks
look him up,
just
sorry.
he looks just like Bobby Sherman. At first, I thought I don't remember.
It's not Bobby Sherman.
I know it's not, um, but he looks like Bobby Sherman. Am I just thinking of Bobby Sherman every time I see him? I mean, he he reminds me of a narcissistic wrestler whose character is supposed to mug to the camera all the time because he loved looking and smiling into the camera. I wish I was that good looking. I could just think Man, I always look good. I might as well smile at people all the time. Let them enjoy this face. But anyway, go ahead.
Yes, you can look at me. It's okay. Um, she says she's only back for the holidays, and her family, the Morgans, are apparently the town's favorite gossip topic. Ted teases Alex that she still mothers her sisters to death. Later, Alex arrives home with her three sisters, Joe, Chris, and Fred. Joe demands to know what this family crisis is all about, and Alex tells him their dad is dying. And Joe's like, and I love her for that. That was just hilarious. She's like, okay, I don't care.
She was my favorite of the
Joe,
sisters. Yeah.
yeah. And unfortunately, she had the smallest part,
Yeah, I
but
know.
she was very, very entertaining. Yeah. She says she swore she would never set foot in their old house again, not even for the pleasure of seeing the coffin close. I'm like, damn. Alex understands, says she feels the same, but Dad has confided in her that his wife, Elizabeth, has been poisoning him. She says they may not care whether their dad lives or dies, but they can't let that woman get away with murder. Again. Cut to Elizabeth staring at them through the rainy window. It is storming through 95% of this movie.
Yes.
Um, I guess that tracks because the only time it really rains in Southern California is in December. So, fair enough. When they get inside, we see that Lindsay was right, and Alex really does mother her younger sisters. She is helping them with their coats and is just generally takes charge. On their way to see Dad, Elizabeth is at the top of the landing, and they all just kind of stare awkwardly at each other for a few minutes. Elizabeth descends the staircase and tells them that although they haven't met, she knows that they all have their own ideas about her, and she hopes they can at least be civil while everyone's here. Elizabeth says she feels like she knows the girls from how their father has talked about them and how he's longed for them to come home for years, which is very odd considering the scene where they actually talk to him, but we'll get there. And then she just goes back upstairs, and Freddie says that's. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. Freddie says when she thinks about that woman sleeping in the bed where their mother died, she says that their dad killed her. But Joe says no, mom killed herself. Their father merely gave her 2001 reasons to do so. And Fred says, well, that still makes him responsible. So now the sisters go into their father's study, and he looks at them like JFK just offered to shake his hand or something. Gives them a very nice hello by shouting at them to shut the door. He says they've all changed. Chris, the youngest, that's Sally Field, is in grad school. Joe has been married more than thrice, and she says she's finally realized she doesn't have to marry to have sex. And
What?
that's what she said.
Now they tell me. Jeez.
Dad says, as he recalls, she found that out in junior high. Oh my God.
Yeah. They are mean to each other. I
So
mean,
mean.
it is so sharp and all the
Right?
dialogue, yeah.
Yeah. Now, poor Freddie is an addict, and he says that one night she'll go like her mother did. And I will have you all know that Lucille Bluth can hold her liquor. Thank you very much. From the window, they can see Elizabeth in a yellow raincoat. She's gone outside, so they're free to talk about her murder plot openly, supposedly. And I'm like, old man, if you want them to help you, maybe don't start out calling them sluts and junkies.
Yeah, that's what if that was my father and he was doing such a heavy request of me, maybe you should be kissing my ass a little bit, Dad, instead of calling me a
Right?
slut and an alcoholic and all this other stuff. But I thought this movie could have ended right there if they all just would have taken a pillow and smothered him and said, "Let's go home."
Right? Right? Short movie, but effective. Um, he says that Elizabeth has killed her first husband, like decades before. And he whines that none of them believe him except Alex, since she wouldn't have come home if she didn't believe him. Dad doesn't want to call the police because apparently he would rather die than be mocked by the town, who has been waiting for this to happen. I guess they're waiting for a big "I told you so." No, instead, he wants his daughters to murder Elizabeth before she murders him, which is a totally normal and reasonable request. The sisters go out into the living room to discuss this, and he's kind of listening in. Alex says, "Well, he didn't mean that literally." And I'm like, "It sounds like he did."
How do you figuratively kill somebody?
Right? Elizabeth's back in the house and she's working in the kitchen, humming Silent Night. Chris comes in to ask for some coffee that she can give to Freddie, and Elizabeth suddenly seems much warmer and perfectly happy to accommodate her. She says she's got dinner in the oven, but it'll be a good while before it's ready, and then she reveals a completely raw bird in the oven. So, by a good while, she meant the next morning, I guess. Did you notice how raw that was?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. It just bothered me. I'm like, that's never gonna cook tonight.
And her character up to this point, besides the glaring scenes, from wherever she always just kind of was there, I
Yeah,
thought she doesn't seem so bad. So immediately I thought, nah, I don't know where this movie's going yet, but she's not the bad guy
yeah,
girl.
yeah. Elizabeth says that it's heartbreaking what Freddie has done to herself with the alcohol and pills, and how she's never gotten over her mother's death, and how some people just can't accept suicide. In Freddie's room, she drinks the coffee and tells Chris that her mother knew their dad was carrying on an affair with Elizabeth, and she kind of asked in general, why did he do it? Did he think that Elizabeth could give him the sons their mom couldn't? And yeah, I don't know if you've picked up on the fact that all the girls have more masculine names.
Yeah, there was a show called Sisters in the 90s. Your mom was a fan of it, and it had Celia Ward, Swoosie Kurtz. Um, oh, it had some people that were pretty big at one time, but the girls were Teddy, Alex, Georgie, and Frankie. And
Ah,
I wondered if that was an inspiration. They were inspired from this movie to have all these masculine names.
well, that's interesting. Yeah, maybe. Um, Poor Freddie says that their mom loved them and she hasn't been loved since her mom died, which is just a really heartbreaking thing to hear. She said Chris was so young when all of this happened that she probably didn't understand everything that was going on. And Chris tells her, just come down to the dinner that will be ready someday. And Freddie says that she's having her dinner of booze. Again, very Lucille Bluth coded. The rest of the sisters go down to the dining room, and Elizabeth overhears Joe calling her their intended victim before she enters. Alex says grace before they begin. Elizabeth says she was hoping their dad could join, but he's just been too sick, and he's also forbidden her from calling a doctor. Joe casually asks Elizabeth if they ever found out who did poison her first husband. Again, a normal thing to bring up at dinner. After all, they were alone in the house that night, weren't they? And Chris, who's really trying to be nice and peaceable with everybody, suggests that maybe he killed himself. And Elizabeth says she wouldn't think of it at all anymore, except the town won't let it go. And they keep gossiping about it. She said she spent months in jail. When she got out, no one would give her a job. She was even in an asylum at one point, and she promises that if she's ever accused of something like that again, she won't be the one waking up screaming. Cut to Freddie screaming from upstairs, and her sisters rush to her aid, and she is bleeding. She has cut herself, and she's ranting that their father killed her mother and that no one cares about her. And when Elizabeth enters the room, Freddie just shrieks at her. Alex and Joe take her away to, get her cleaned up. And the next thing we know, Joe was packing to leave. She is done with this. Alex says again, no matter what he's done, he's still their father. And that, no, that's not good enough. I that's just not a good reason to help someone if you've
Banking
hurt
on.
them. What?
That's what I'm banking on. When I get old, you guys, well, let's go. But he is your father after all.
No, but you've been a good father. It's different.
Well, I've got 5 kids. My philosophy is be good to 2 of them.
Joe says that she never blamed their dad for their mom committing suicide, that mom was batty since Chris was born. She tells Alex to stop playing big sister to her and stop trying to guilt her. Joe says she doesn't believe this business about Elizabeth poisoning their dad. She feels like they've been tricked into coming here. Why would Elizabeth kill their dad? Anyway, they're in his will, so she won't even get the whole thing. And so she's determined to leave. She goes to say goodbye to Chris, but she finds her in bed with Freddie, just trying to comfort her. And Joe says she can't face Freddie when she's like that and asks Alex to do it for her. So she wants Alex to stop babying her, and then in the next breath asks Alex to do the hard stuff for her. You
Yeah.
can't have it both ways, Joe. She does suck it up and says goodbye to Freddie, but Freddie's basically catatonic at this point.
Speaking of cats, I got Bing Bong on my lap. If I look like I'm in pain, it's because he sits on my legs and my legs fall asleep. So I'm hoping oh good, he's leaving.
Hi, kitty.
Now I can join the podcast. So
Chris goes downstairs with Joe to say goodbye, and Joe asks Chris to leave with her. Chris declines. She's going to stick it out. They hug. Joe tells her to be careful, and then she leaves the house. Um, she's asked to borrow Alex's car,
yes,
by the
which
way, so
made
she
me
can get back to
wonder,
the
she's
airport.
gonna take the car back to the airport. How's Alex gonna get her car back?
I wondered that too,
Okay.
because apparently there's no other car on site.
Yeah.
So she gets in
And
Alex's car and discovers that there are no keys.
didn't Alex say that the keys are in the car?
Did she? I might have missed that bit. She probably did.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Um, and for so she gets out of the car to look for the keys, and for some reason she doesn't see when a person in a bright yellow raincoat is standing 2 feet away from her. So when she starts looking around for him, whoever it is stabs her in the back with a pitchfork. So that's one down, three to go. Three to go. I can count. And then we get another ominous shot of Elizabeth looking out the window. And now it took me a minute to realize this was the next morning because the day for night is really bad. Okay, so Dr. Lindsay rings the doorbell and Chris happily invites him inside and he gives her a present, a necklace. Did he bring presents for the rest of them? It appears not.
And it's also Christmas morning. Doesn't he have
Yes,
family or something?
apparently not. No. Um, he teases Chris that she had a crush on him when she was a teenager, and then he asks why she's not married. And she says that she scares men off. She needs too much. And he says that he'd better go. If her dad sees him, he'll be pissed because remember, he's forbidden doctors to be around. And Chris asks if he knows what's wrong with her dad. And he says, well, unless he allows me to examine him and run some tests, I can't tell. And it's, his word against Benjamin's, against Elizabeth's. Chris tells them about her dad's theory that Elizabeth is poisoning him, and he says that's funny. Elizabeth is the one who initially asked him to come and examine Benjamin. And then he says that because of the storm, the roads might wash out, but if they don't, he'll come back and see her in the morning, and then he takes off.
Okay. Now this I understand the scene and it does explain some backstory, but his rationale for going there under the guise that I'm going to give this person who apparently has been gone for like 10 years a necklace who used to have a crush on him, so he's obviously older than her. I I don't know, that's just kind of like creepy.
No, it is.
Okay.
It is. Yeah.
You cheap dime store Bobby Sherman, get out of here.
Um, and Elizabeth watches him go from the window because that's what she does. That night, Chris asks Alex what they're going to do about Elizabeth. So, what have you been doing all day? Alex says in the morning she will simply ask her to leave quietly. And Chris is like, well, technically, this is her house. And if she's innocent, why should she leave? Alex calls her naive and childish for thinking that Elizabeth is innocent. And I actually appreciate that Chris doesn't immediately brand Elizabeth as a killer with zero evidence the way the rest of them seem to.
Yeah, it's apparent that they're still looking at Chris as the teenage baby sister, and they haven't accounted for that she is, I don't know, probably mid late 20s by now in graduate school, that
Yeah.
she's an adult now. And they're still trying to treat her like she's a kid, but
Yes.
she's the one who's actually the only one who's thinking because she's not clouded by rage or alcoholism or whatever
Yeah.
the other three had going on.
Yeah. Let me see. Where was I? Yeah, Alex says that she feels like everything is on her shoulders. Freddie runs to her pills, Joe runs to her parties, and Chris is like, I'm here. I'm right here to your point. Like they're treating her like a child, but like she's an adult. She's trying to help and share the burden. She goes to try to use the telephone, but it's dead, which I didn't understand right away because it makes a very weird sound.
Okay. And I want to address that sound. Um, when you left the phone off the hook, you would get a sound when I was growing up.
Yeah, I mean that's what I remember.
One time we left the phone off the hook on accident for quite a while. And when we got home, it was that, it was the eeriest thing. And I had not heard it since. And then maybe I told Kathy, I said, I've heard that before. So apparently what used to happen was they had the sound to tell you that your phone was off the hook. And if you didn't respond, they had that higher pitched sound to get your attention that was almost like a siren to get your attention to put the phone back on the hook. So that's what we were hearing. But why we were hearing it, I don't know, because the phone wasn't left off the hook.
Right. Okay, that's good to know because the way she was like looking at the phone, I'm like, is that supposed to be some creepy noise she's overhearing? I didn't understand what was happening until she says the phones are out. Yeah, it's like a high droning siren sound, like you said. So she goes into the kitchen where Elizabeth is making warm milk with honey. Warm milk is disgusting. I don't understand that being a thing.
Your mom, like the first year we were married, anytime I didn't feel good, she would say, "You want me to get you some warm milk?" No, thank you. Finally, one day she said, "Oh yeah, I don't know what's going on. I was sick or something. Want me to get you some warm milk?" I said, "I don't know if you realize this, but like warm milk just sounds really disgusting to me. I don't never want to have it." So, did she ever ask you if you wanted warm milk?
Never. No, that was not a thing. So I guess she took it to heart.
Okay.
She invites Chris to have some to help her sleep, and she asks Elizabeth about the phone. She says, well, the storm probably just knocked it out. She's not really that worried about it. So Elizabeth takes her mug of yuckiness and starts to head through the house up the stairs, and Benjamin peeks out his door to watch her going up. And she takes the mug to Freddie's room, and they don't exchange any dialogue. They just kind of look at each other. And then it cuts to Freddie in the bathtub with vodka, not really conscious, just very kind of out of it. And then we see someone wearing like red rubber kitchen gloves grab her by the legs and pull her under the water, drowning her. And we have seen the gloves before. We know they're from their kitchen, but we just had a close up of Chris putting them on a couple scenes later. So I was like, were they just trying to highlight the gloves are from the house, or are they trying to make it seem like Chris is a suspect?
I didn't notice that she put them on, so
Okay. Well, anyway, poor Chris finds Freddie dead in the bathtub, and I can't imagine how traumatic that must be. Alex and Elizabeth rush up to see what's wrong, and Alex discovers the broken glass because she dropped her glass of vodka when whoever it was killed her, and she just kind of glares at Elizabeth like she did it. From downstairs, the dad shouts at them to tell them what's going on, and Alex tells Elizabeth to stay with their father while she takes Chris into another room. Elizabeth tells Benjamin that Freddie has killed herself. She said she saw some pills in Freddie's room earlier, and Benjamin instantly starts accusing Elizabeth of killing her. She said that Freddie didn't even drink that milk and honey that she brought to her. She drank it herself. Go and see the empty mug. It's still on my nightstand if you don't believe me. And Alex does just that. Uh, they can't call the sheriff because the phone is out and now the roads have indeed washed out. And Alex announces that she just looked in Freddie's room. There were no pills. She looked in Elizabeth's room. There is no mug. And Elizabeth doesn't really have anything to say to that. She looks surprised. So Alex and Chris lay Freddie out on the bed and cover her face. And Alex says that Freddie doesn't need them anymore, but they may need each other. She's gonna go check on their dad, but Chris is obviously freaked out and doesn't want to be left alone. Alex says, just shout for me if you need me. She goes into their dad's room and he is sleeping, and she doesn't notice Elizabeth sitting in the room behind the door, which I don't know what's wrong with this family and why they can't see people who are right there. When she goes back to the kitchen, Chris says that Freddie's death might have just been an accident, and Alex says no, Elizabeth is trying to kill us all one by one to get all of their dad's inheritance. Chris does not want to just sit there and do nothing. She says she can try to make it to one of their neighbor's house and see if their phone is working. She knows the area and the woods very well. Alex tries to talk her out of it, but like you said earlier, Chris is not a child, and she's like, "No, I'm going." So she goes, and I get it. I wouldn't just want to sit and be like, "Is that woman going to try to kill me or not?" You know?
yeah.
And then we get shot number 48 of Elizabeth staring out the window. Chris starts running through the woods. It's still storming. She hears the sounds of breaking sticks, and someone is indeed following her. We see the person in the yellow raincoat again. They're holding the pitchfork. Chris keeps going. She's running. She's trying to find a place to hide. Finally, the figure loses track of her and walks off. Back at the house, Alex is back in her dad's room, fluffing up his pillows, and I'm like, just put it over his head. She sees Elizabeth wandering outside in a yellow raincoat, and she grabs her own coat and steps outside to see what the fuck that's all about. Meanwhile, Chris has resumed her journey, but stumbles across poor Joe's corpse. And suddenly, Elizabeth is standing right in front of her, and she says she's been so worried that she couldn't find her. Chris screams because I don't blame her at this point for thinking, oh my god, Elizabeth's killing all of us. So she runs back to the house. She hollers for Alex, but Alex isn't there or doesn't answer. The house is dark. She's locking all the doors, trying to keep Elizabeth out. Unfortunately for her, Elizabeth gets in through the storm door in the basement. She gets up to the main floor and starts yelling for Chris. She's saying, "It's okay, you're safe now." She probably doesn't really quite know what the fuck's going on, but understandably, Chris is staying hidden and quiet. Um, she makes it to her dad's room, but guess what? Dad is dead, and God is good. And again, Elizabeth is in the room, and Chris doesn't notice. I don't know how people keep missing her. Um, Chris runs from her back out into the storm. Now, at this point, the rain finally stops, presumably because they couldn't film dialogue with the rain. She makes it to a road and flags down a car. And who is in the car? Alex. She tells her everything that's happened, and Alex just stares at her, completely dead-eyed. It's so creepy. She says she knows all of this happened. She knew she'd come to her, 'cause she always did, and Elizabeth wouldn't have killed her, just like she didn't kill Joe, or Fred, or Dad. That's right. 'Twas Alex all along. Never underestimate us oldest children, okay?
Oh,
We've
ooh.
always got a backup plan.
Who's first?
I can't tell you my backup plan.
All right.
Chris disbelievingly asks her why. And Alex says she wanted to be free of them, of all of them once and for all. She said she couldn't have just walked away because their helpless little faces would have haunted her forever, and she'd go running to them anytime one of them needed her. This
Okay.
way,
Go ahead and finish your
I was just
thought.
going to say, this way, none of them will ever need her again. And Eleanor Parker is so creepy in this scene. Oh, go ahead.
I kind of, I really got lost in this now because that was maybe the dumbest reason to kill your siblings I have ever seen in a movie. Yeah, just move away. I mean, this is 1972. There's no internet. There's they're either going to call you or you're not. If you don't want to talk to them, you know what? You just move somewhere and have an unlisted number and they can't find you. This is 1972. But now the easier thing to do is to murder three of my sisters. And I don't know. So the weak reason kind of lost me. I
Hmm.
thought there should have been a reason that had some bite because I don't know anybody who hasn't once or twice in their life thought, man, I'd like to kill my siblings. But no one's ever thought, I want to just seriously kill my siblings because you know what? They always come running back to me. Ah. Anyway, go ahead.
No, you're right. You're right. But I don't know. I watch it's like every time on Dateline I'm watching and somebody has killed their spouse because of they're having an affair or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, because that's way easier than just getting a divorce, I guess. You know, just sure, let's go right to murder. But anyway, Alex goes to hit Chris with a tire iron, but she misses, and Chris kind of stumbles down the hill and knocks herself out. But before Alex can do anything else, Dr. Lindsay comes along in his truck. She cries to him that Elizabeth has killed everyone, and oh no, she's got to find Chris. Chris is all she has left. Uh, Dr. Lindsay tells her to get in her car and go back to town. Part of the road is clear. I don't know how. The rain just stopped 2 minutes ago, but okay. He tells her to go bring back the sheriff and tell them about the letter their father wrote. Because I should have mentioned, Chris told her about that earlier because she's like, what? How did you know about that? But she does what he says. She does, in fact, go to the town and get the cops. They arrive the next morning when the sky is finally clear. And I guess Alex.
Kathy noticed this. Not only was the sky clear, everything was bone dry. There was no mud. They're walking on dirt. The sidewalk up to the house, no hint of moisture anywhere. Wow, that morning
It,
sunshine must have been 130 degrees.
it's called a Christmas miracle, okay?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
So I guess Alex really stupidly thought that Chris had died when she fell,
Yeah,
even though that seems highly unlikely because she's tearfully telling the cops where all the bodies are. They escort her into the house. Elizabeth glares at her from the staircase, and Alex gives her this smug smile where the cops can't see, which I thought was kind of funny. But it turned, and Dr. Lindsay's like, I found Chris, and turns out, yeah, she's still alive because why wouldn't she be? That was a dumb assumption on Alex's part. Yeah, Violet's always foiling my brilliant murder schemes. It's very annoying. Alex, when she sees her alive, just starts screaming hysterically, and the cops take her away. As she's being led to the cruiser, she takes one last look at the house, and for a change of pace, it's now Chris looking through the window. The cops take Alex away. Elizabeth helps Chris pack her bags and leads her down the stairs. She and Elizabeth hug. Elizabeth tells Dr. Lindsay to take care of her. He says he will because he's creepy. But in a certain light, this is a heartwarming Christmas story about a stepmother and a stepdaughter learning to understand each other.
Well, yeah. And another thing that was weird, they never cuff her. They just kind of stroll, and then they put her in the front of the cruiser, thinking, no, she committed murder. You put her in the back. You don't ride up front with her. So how you doing? What's it
How was
like to
your
murder your
Christmas?
siblings? I thought, come on, man, cuff her and throw her in the back. So
She's
I
a
mean,
white lady. They can't do that.
I actually
God.
said to Kathy, I'm not sure if they're arresting her. It doesn't look like an arrest. It looks like they're strolling her out. Oh, well, you want to go to jail or to the airport? It's up to you.
Maybe they're taking her to an asylum. I don't know. Anyway, Elizabeth watches as Dr. Lindsay and Chris drive away. The end. It's a very short movie. We've been covering longer movies lately, so it was nice to get back to like a 75-minute movie.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, do you think I saw this, the original airing? Did I see a rebroadcast, or was this the first time I've seen this movie?
First time.
First time I've seen this movie. I'd never even heard of it. So, and I'm telling you, I may have saw like the title, Home for the Holidays. I just probably thought it was another Hallmark Christmas movie. It's
That's
not.
that's fair. It is not.
It's
Might
not.
be a Lifetime Christmas movie. They go a little harder.
Yeah. Would you give this a classic or a trash it?
I love this movie, so I'm giving it a classic.
Okay. I'll be the Siskel to your Ebert. I gotta trash it.
That's
I
fair.
was very excited with the cast, and I thought this is going to be a really, really strong movie. The story just was not quite up to snuff with the cast, I guess you could say. Um, and Jessica Walter dying so early in the movie was a disappointment.
Yeah, that
And
was.
Joe, whoever played her, I can't remember her name. Her dying so early in the movie was a disappointment because she was the most interesting of the sisters. She had a
Yeah.
lot of sass. She didn't care what she said. I thought, oh, this is a fun one. And then she just died real quick. Well, they killed her real quick.
Yeah, that I agree. It's like when we went to see that really terrible Stephen King movie, Dreamcatcher,
Oh,
and
yeah.
remember the two interesting characters got killed off, and then we were stuck with the two boring ones the rest of the movie.
Yeah, yeah. I barely remember it, but I do remember that it started off okay and then it just fell apart. So,
It sure did. Yeah.
yeah. This movie was better than Dreamcatchers.
Yes. And you're absolutely right about in everything you say in the story and all that. But I thought it had a really cool atmosphere. It's such a long way with me. I like dark and stormy big houses, so
Yeah.
I'll
Mm.
forgive a lot of crap, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, well, good. Um, I'm going to continue the Christmas theme next week.
Okay.
We're going to watch an American Christmas Carol.
An
Bingo.
American Christmas Carol. Okay.
From 1979, and guess who plays Ebenezer Scrooge?
I don't know.
Hey,
Shut
Henry
up!
Winkler. So yes, the Fonz is going to play Scrooge in an American Christmas Carol. So,
To watch it. Classic.
yeah, and Richie is Tiny Tim. Ralph is Bob Cratchit.
Sure. Sure, it all makes sense.
And the Ghost of Christmas Past is Pinky Tuscadero.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to do that one, and Oh yeah, I'm gonna do that this week. So now
Okay.
that'll be our last one before Christmas, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it would be.
Okay, well, cool. Well, everybody, join us next week for An American Christmas Carol starring Henry Winkler, the Foz. All the other Happy Day characters are not in this. I was just joking, but you can watch us on Tubi, so you don't have to look it up on uh, YouTube and watch a semi-fuzzy rendition of it. I turned it on Tubi for about 2 minutes, and yeah, it looks good. I thought, ooh, good. So
Nice.
don't have to worry about, is that Jan or is that Marsha or is that Cindy Brady in this movie? I can't see. All
Right.
right. We'll see you all next week, everybody. Bye bye.